It seems like for months here at Crane & Company, we've been asking the question why Jalen Milroe wasn't being used more in the design quarterback run game or being put in more RPO situations where he could pull the ball and run. We wondered why new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees was treating him like a pocket passer only, and why Milroe wouldn't take off more if the first read wasn't there, second read wasn't there, and he saw man coverage with the defender's back turned. Now against LSU Saturday night, we saw the best of Jalen Milroe because the game plan and the play calling was actually tailored to what he does best. Jalen's best weapon is his versatility. He isn't a bad passer by any means, but the pressure a defense has on them is multiplied by 1,000 when Milroe is running by design and through improvisation on the scramble drill. It also helps out that Bama's true run game because the threat of the pull is always there. It helps receivers get open because the threat to pull it down and take off is there. It seemed for weeks he was getting sacked because he wouldn't get out of the pocket while the getting was good. But this version of the Alabama offense, as bad as what LSU's defense has been all year, combined with Alabama's elite defense, can absolutely win the whole thing if the chips fall right. Now that Tommy Rees has let Pandora out of the box, he cannot simply put it back in. This is who Alabama has to be if they want to win the SEC and even more. This is who Jalen Milroe really is. And it's finally being embraced the way the Eagles have embraced Jalen Hurts' running ability and played to his strengths, and where the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, went wrong with Dak Prescott. The Tide now has the SEC West in a stranglehold, and we seem set on a collision course with them in Georgia. Now, a lot of people will say that benching Milroe against South Florida was one of Saban's best coaching moves, and they may be right. But his best move, in my opinion, this year was finally letting the big dog eat and show how deep Jalen's bag of versatility really is. So whichever side of the Bama debate you may fall on, I'm just glad I don't have to game plan against this guy, who right now is officially a witch. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback, David Cohn, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crane. Again, it's something we harped on and we harped on and we harped on. And I know there's a couple of trains of thought here, David. You obviously don't want to put Jalen Milroe in harm's way too much when you know what you have at the backup quarterback position now at Alabama. Not that Ty Simpson can't figure it out down the road, but he's not ready. Tyler Buckner, I don't think is ever going to be ready. So do you think maybe they were saving some of this, or it was finally embraced because that Alabama offense, with the way that Tommy Rees called that game with Jalen Milroe, is very, very hard to stop, and it makes everybody better?
Yeah, I understand the concept. You don't want to get a guy hurt or overuse him in certain situations. But also, if you want to win SEC football games, you have to play to a guy's strengths, right? And I can't believe we're sitting here talking about Alabama on a collision course with Georgia in the SEC championship game after what we saw against when they played Texas and South Florida in those back-to-back weeks. Now, we talk a lot about Jalen Milroe as a young quarterback who's starting to figure things out week by week, but Tommy Rees is a young OC too. Maybe that's something that we haven't talked about enough. And he is starting to figure out a lot of things. And there is this element of, hey, did we not want to show too much before we played LSU, figuring things out in the bye week? But you had big games down the stretch, Tennessee and Texas A&M and things like that. Here was the last 4 weeks when it comes to Jalen Milroe's rushing. Against Texas A&M, minus 31 yards. Against Tennessee, 3 yards. Against Arkansas, minus 19 yards. And against LSU, 155 yards. 155 yards and 4 touchdowns, almost as many TDs as Jalen Milroe has rushed for the entire season, and still didn't have as many total yards as the guy on the other side, Jaden Daniels, who went out of the game early. That's what it took to beat that guy and that offense. But the most impressive number out of all of that, you can talk about that he's gotten his completion percentage up to 65% this year. Talk about the rushing yards and the touchdowns against LSU. The most impressive number was 0 turnovers this game. That's the thing. No interceptions, no strip sack fumbles, not the things that cost him against Texas, not the things that almost cost him when they were playing Tennessee and A&M. So that was what was most impressive, and we're on a collision course with Georgia. I think it's Nick Saban's greatest coaching job so far with this.
I think you can make an argument this is Kirby Smart and Nick Saban's, one of their best coaching jobs so far. Blaine, all off season and going into the early season, we heard Nick Saban talk about getting back to playing bully ball, getting back to big boying people. And when you think about that, you think about the John Parker Wilson Alabama offense. You think about the A.J. McCarron Alabama offense, the Jake Coker Alabama offense. Let's get in 12 personnel, 11 personnel. The quarterbacks we're going to run downhill. We're not going to be high flying. We're not going to run all these RPOs, all these zone reads and things like that. But it seems like Alabama has finally made the conscious decision that this is who we need to be for us to blossom as much as possible. This is who Jalen Milroe needs to be able to put as much pressure as possible on the defense. And I tell you, I know LSU, again, has been really bad defensively. I think at some point you got to move on from Matt House. And I want to make sure and give Jaden Daniels his flowers, David. I agree with that 100%. But when you look at this Alabama team, and you look at Michigan, and you look at Florida State, and you look at Ohio State, and you look at everybody kind of in the surrounding area, Texas, who we know beat Alabama on the road, how dangerous is this Alabama team if they operate in the style they did against LSU?
I mean, the most dangerous team in the country,
Really?
in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, look around. I mean, you look at Georgia right now and you go back to the Missouri game. Georgia's a great football team. We know that. Well, what's always hurt Georgia in the past? It's a guy who can be a mobile quarterback, extend the play, get outside the pocket, let things break down in the secondary. And you go back, I think this is a huge game for growing for Tommy Rees. I mean, it's your 5th year being a coordinator. It shouldn't take you this long to know that Milroe needs to run the football, all right? I mean, 20 carries. I mean, this is more than he's seen the entire year. And it's not only that. It's not only the design plays, the RPOs, but I look at him, this is the most comfortable he's looked in the pocket.
Look natural.
Confidence, right? It looked like he wasn't going out there scared to make a mistake. It looked like he was going out there to play football. And an Alabama team like this, trust me, I had him going 11-1 this year, and I questioned that a lot, walking, especially after that Texas game. But it's amazing how defense travels. And we said this during the week. If you held LSU under 30 points, you had to feel really good if you're Alabama in this football game. And the offense is just slowly coming along. And to be honest with you, if you're an LSU fan, your team, your defense is the get-right team this year. All right, they are. Unless you're Army, anytime you go against this LSU defense, you're going to put points up on the board. And this is just another stepping stone for this Alabama team. You got Kentucky, then you got Auburn, then you're going to walk into a Georgia in the SEC championship. And we'll see if Brock Bowers is there. Because without Brock Bowers, man, this game will be a hell lot more interesting just from a spread standpoint, a total point standpoint of what defense is Kirby going to do to game plan against Milroe. That's what I'm most interested to see.
Yeah, well, I think, again, if Milroe's running, that there's only so much that you can do. And we're going to get in and break down more of this Alabama-LSU game. I want to talk about this Dallas-Turner hit as well. But make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Really appreciate you guys joining us. We have live calls opening up at 7:15 a.m. Central. That's 8:15 a.m. Eastern, and got a lot to get to. But you got places to get to. Tailgates, right? Dinner, things like that. You want to make sure that you are using the best meat available because you do have a lot at stake this November. Yes, that is a meat joke.
Well done.
All right, so don't be a chicken. There's another one. And shop at the grocery store like usual. Instead, head over to Good Ranchers. All right, and again, we've had Good Ranchers as a sponsor for a long time. Their product, I'm telling you, there is a huge difference when you throw that meat on the grill, when you throw it in the oven, however you're cooking it, whether it's chicken, whether it's beef, whether it's seafood, whether it's pork. Good Ranchers, it's absolutely the move. Also, they have their Black Friday Your Way sale is alive, something you don't want to miss. Then this November, you get to pick your favorite meat to get for free all year between steak, salmon, chicken, or bacon when you subscribe to any box right now. Better yet, when you subscribe to any box on goodranchers.com, you not only get the free gift of meat worth up to $480, but you also get $15 off with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. So claim your year of free meat, $15 off, and free shipping with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at goodranchers.com. Good Ranchers is the #1 place to get all-American beef, pork, chicken, and seafood. That's promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at goodranchers.com. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered.
So go ahead and talk about your thoughts on the Dallas-Turner hit then.
Well, I don't think it was dirty. But I don't think it was malicious, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to go hit Jaden Daniels right in the face and try and take him out of the game. I think Dallas Turner did what every defender typically does, even with the new rules when the quarterback is protected, especially in the NFL when he's basically bubble boy. He got a chance to take a big shot on the quarterback, missed a little bit high. I think it was targeting. All right, I do think it was targeting. I think it should have been a 15-yard penalty, and I think he should have been ejected from the game. But not because he's a dirty player, not because he's a malicious player. And I see people on social media say, oh, look how dirty Alabama is. And then all of a sudden, right underneath it, you see a clip of one of their players doing the exact same thing. Guys get reputations, right? There are some guys that we know are dirty. Ndamukong Suh, dirty player. You want to know how I know he's a dirty player? He's stomping on people. I mean, he's shown you over and over again. Dallas Turner has given me no reason to think, and I know he's well coached. I know Nick Saban isn't over there telling him, go hurt the quarterback. Now, it worked out that it obviously helps when you hurt the best offensive player in the country, in my opinion, in Jayden Daniels, on the best offense in the country. But I don't think Dallas Turner went into that play and said, oh boy, here we go. Now I get a chance to take Jayden Daniels out of the game. What I think is he said, I finally get a chance to square Jayden Daniels up. All game, Jayden Daniels has run around us like we're not even there. You saw it and I saw it. So when you get your chances to hit him, you hit him. That's part of the game of football. I think we've gotten so lulled to sleep with the new rules of you can't hit him here and you can't hit him here and you can't touch him here that we forgot how fast these guys are moving, how hard it is to square these guys up, and that when you get an opportunity to hit the quarterback, whether that be legally right after a throw, whether that be when he's scrambling legally, or whether that be to block him on an interception when you're running it back, you take that chance. I think there was a lot of overreaction because it took LSU's best chance away to win the game. And I understand people being frustrated. And I agree it was a penalty. But it was a penalty because it was where he hit him, not the intent of him hitting him there, if that makes sense. I don't think it was a dirty play.
This is the result of recruiting the best defensive players in the country. Sometimes they hit the opposing quarterback really hard, and sometimes they get knocked out of the game. We've seen them do this against Texas a couple times, now against LSU. I don't know. When I was playing football, which I know I'm getting older and older, but to me it doesn't seem like that long ago, this is a football hit. We're out here playing football, so I don't know about like where we see this and we're like, oh, this is targeting and a guy should be removed from the game. You saw the opposing quarterback, Jayden Daniels, scramble for 168 yards on the day. He's throwing for over 200 yards. Like he's the reason that LSU is. He's killing you. He's crushing you. You have to take your chances to hit him. This wasn't like he was 3 steps out of bounds and you took a cheap shot on the guy.
Yeah.
That's when you start talking to me about getting thrown out of a football game. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think this is less about Dallas Turner, more how this stuff gets officiated. I think in college you have a lot more leeway to go hit a quarterback.
You do,
right? You do, and then you get into the NFL. If you breathe on a kid, I mean, I watched the Commanders.
The Commanders? Oh, on Mac Jones? Oh, God, that was an awful call.
Like, we're setting these kids up for failure in the NFL if we're not doing the right thing in college. That's the one thing I'll never understand. Discrepancies in play and penalties in the NFL and college are so different. We need to start treating it the same so these guys are almost vetted when they get to the NFL and they know how to sack a quarterback. Was it targeting on Dallas Turner? I guess. Yeah, it was. I mean, if anything, I would say less targeting, more of the body weight rule.
That
right?
I could get on board.
More the body weight rule. I'm fine with that. I get it. But we have to start treating these kids, and they're all not going to make the NFL. I guarantee that guy who just tackled Jayden Daniels
He's going to be
Dallas
in the
Turner.
NFL.
We have to start treating it the same so we can get some basis of consistency when it comes to officiating. That's what I would say.
Well, to me, it did meet the criteria if we're going to go by the rule, whether you agree with the rule or not. If we're going to call roughing the passer and stuff when a guy's hand hits the quarterback's helmet, not even knocks him down, when it hits his helmet, if you launch, which I think Dallas Turner launched up, right? I think it was helmet to helmet pretty much.
Did he
right?
get his helmet though?
He got underneath it. But what I'm saying is if we're going to call when you graze their helmet with your hand, if there's any contact of your helmet hitting their helmet underneath and going up especially, then it needs to be called. As a defensive guy, do I want that called? Hell no. I don't care what team it is, right? But if we're going to go by the letter of the law, it was targeting, but it wasn't this malicious act. This man isn't the Joker. He's not Harvey Dent. He's not out here trying to blow Gotham City up. He made a play on the quarterback, and he has no reputation of being a dirty player. I understand when you lose, you want to find a reason for why you lost. That is the natural progression of things, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, or whether it's fans. That was just an unfortunate action that happened in a very fast, very physical, very professional athlete-driven football game in T-Town. Hey, everybody on YouTube. Really appreciate you guys joining us in the live stream last weekend for Alabama, LSU, and USC Washington. That was a ton of fun. Really appreciate you guys spreading the word as well. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do it. Hit that like button and turn that notification bell on so you know every time we drop content. Again, thank you guys so much. You're the best audience out there. Shout out to Booster Club.